Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. I hope you are all happy and healthy, doing the things you love for the people that you love doing them with. It is Tuesday night, it's 7:15. I was planning on going live at about 8, 9 o'clock after the watershed-ish, because I wanted to come on and just talk through some new opportunities, new players that I've uncovered, new links to new transfers, other transfers I hadn't done too much research on before, like Adam Wharton, Hayden Hackney, Ezequiel Fernandez. We might still be able to get through all of that. It looks like Tottenham are turning their attentions, or were going to turn their attentions, to a DM. And then, of course, Fabrizio Romano decides to come out and, or was it DiMarzio? I'm not sure who spoke first on this. Was it Pletigo? I don't know. All three of them are coming out at the same time with the same sort of information. It looks like there's a spanner in the works. Someone has poisoned the punch. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. That's what Mike Tyson said. How you guys doing? Never a dull day in the land of Tottenham Hotspur. Guys, we are doing it again. We are doing it again. I'm so glad I didn't put out the Here We Go video this morning. I stopped myself short. You know what I did? I woke up and I was like, all right, the news is out. It was kind of out late last night. It's kind of out this morning. Do I run the risk? Do I go out and record a video as though it's a Here We Go and then wait until the Here We Go before I upload? Because you know I like to do my walk and talks. And obviously that takes a bit of time rather than just going straight live. So, and obviously time is of the essence. You have to be first. Sometimes it's not always about being correct. It's about being first. You know, the rules. And so I was sitting there kind of going, what do I do? What do I do? Do I, you know what? I'm just going to keep it real. I'm just going to go out there and talk about it though it's done. And I thought it was done. We all thought it was done this morning. I can hear knives sharpening. Can anybody else hear knives sharpening? Oh, dearie, dearie, dear. Let's see who's in the house, guys. We've got a lot to talk about. Talking beers in the house. What's happening? Beer. We're doing it again. Talking about beer. It's day 9 for me. It's almost day 10. Son alcohol. I'm over it. I don't have the desire. I've got a newfound addiction to coffee machines. And I am, struggling with a newfound problem. Palpitations from too much caffeine. Anyway, good to see you, Beer. Levy, get your fingers out and sign that dude, says Christian. Mark's in the house saying this just keeps happening. Haggling for pennies, then someone comes in and steals the march. What I would say, guys, what I absolutely would say is that none of us are experts. Or I mean, someone might be. If Fabrizio Romano is in the house, if he's watching, he might be an expert. Some people might be experts in the house on how football transfers work, but I'm certainly not. However, I do know from general business that that negotiations for transfers of assets, shall we call it, between multinational companies or large organizations take time. They're not easy. It's not as easy as we would like it to be. I know that you can point to other clubs that seemingly just come out of nowhere and get things done, and it's done. But much like maybe the Timo Werner kind of noise, that story. But you never know how long those conversations are going on beforehand, so we never really know what the rationalization is. I don't necessarily think we should all just presume that the reason why this has taken 9 days, and by the way, 9 days is a record for Tottenham if we do get it done, is because of haggling over pennies, sort of penny wise and pound foolish. But it's a spanner in the works. We got Johnny in the back who's going to come in and talk it through with me. Delighted. I only asked him about 5 minutes ago. Let me just see if there's any of the members. There's no members here yet. Normally I jump through and say hello to members. Here we go. We've got one here. Larry Onka. What's happening, Larry Onka? Good to see you. He'll have to choose Spurs. Bayern have Kim Min-jae, De Ligt, and Upamecano already. No way he's starting over them. Spurs is also more exciting with the manager of the project and the league. Yeah, we're going to get through the news in just a second. Good to see you, though, my man. Good to see everybody. Everybody in the house, please make sure you have smashed the like button. You know the rules. There's 700 people in the house already across all socials. And that's phenomenal stuff considering we are 7 minutes in. Let me bring Johnny onto the stage. Oh, he's not there. He's here, but he's not. Oh, you've only got audio only.
Is it?
Yeah, where's your camera?
Don't know. Hang on.
And also, why audio only rather than...
Shall I go out and come back in?
Yeah, go out and come back in.
All right.
Good to see you, everyone. Who else? Any other? I don't think there's any other members in the house today. We've got like 200 members, but there's no other. Oh, yes, it is. Here we go. Jessica's in the house. Big up, Jessica. Good to see you. Any truth in us going in on Tamori? That is something I was going to talk about. Good to see you, though. And Gregor's in the house as well, as is Roy Viken. Good to see you, mate. I'm not sure. You said earlier that you defended me or that you thought I was offended about something. I had no idea what you were talking about, buddy. So even if what you did say was offensive, I didn't see it, but I would forgive you anyway because you're a lovely guy. Here he is. He's back now. There he is. How you doing, Johnny? Good to see you, mate.
I'm all right. Another day in the drama that is Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Well, I'm going to get your thoughts on it in just a second. Let me just say hello to a couple of the members. Mark Sheehan's in the house. Good to see you, Marky boy. Ben Williams. If Kane wants to prove his legacy, he needs to tell the Bayern board he thinks Dragusin is. Yeah. I mean, look, this could swing two different decisions, right? The Dragusin thing could fall apart, and then, of course, if that happens, so does the Eric Dyer thing. It could go from feast to famine in terms of our excitement and our energy levels, our positive sway very, very quickly if this one falls apart. Daniel Borden's also in the house. Big up, Dan. Good to see you. Dragusin to Bayern. We should get the lick from then.
Do you know what it feels like? You know, like when a cat sits there like that, you see him on the cartoons, like Tom and Jerry, and he's playing with the mouse.
Yeah.
Bayern have been doing to us. Hey, you know what? I'm a bit bored. Let's go and mess around with Tottenham.
Let's play with some mice. Yeah.
No, let's start with Kane. Let's talk about Kane for weeks on end and months on end. Let's mess up the fan base as if they didn't have enough going on last year with Conte and all the rest of it. Then you start to tease us. You take him away. And then we rejoice when he loses the cup final.
Yeah.
And then you want to tease us that you're going to take Eric Dyer, right?
That was always a bit of a hard one. It was a strange one to swallow, that one, wasn't it?
But it was gathering pace on, not one source,
no, of course.
Multiple sources.
There's definitely truth to the story, but whether or not, Bayern just putting it out there, I don't know. Why would Bayern want to like punish us? Why would they want to do that? We didn't punish them.
And now, of all the centre backs in the world, you want to mess with mine? Yeah.
We're going to talk about it, mate. Let me just quickly say hello to everyone. All the guys I've just, Mr. M, Roy, Scooter Reacts, Nick Brown, Futures Bright. Good to see all you guys. KM's in the house as well. Rick and Rio, good to see you, mate. Anybody else I haven't said hello to yet? I think that's about it. Oh, we've got a couple of super chats as well. Tom Crockett, good evening. If you guys want to become a member of the show, you can find it in the join button beneath. There's two options. You can become a Spurs Talk Show puppy, or you can become a Spurs Talk Show pony. Just support the channel. I will be doing more and more members content. But right now, January window is busy enough. Quick super chat from Donovan Davis. Good to see you, Donovan. Really appreciate it. I get out of 2-hour meeting, and Bayern is trying to hijack Dragusin. What in the actual F? I need a drink, mate. So do I, dude. And I'm not allowed to have any until the 1st of Feb. Yeah, it's a terrible start to the evening. I was really looking forward to tonight because I almost beat Henry finally on FIFA. I almost beat him. It took him to extra time, and
was
I thought
800. What was that? 800 to 0.
No, I think we're 60, and he's 60-0. He's 60 wins over me right now. I haven't won any, but I took him to extra time, and I've just gone and bought some good players, and I feel like the evening session was going to be a success. Henry might be joining us. I think he's on the live right now, but he might be joining us shortly. House music as well. We have no proof it's on Libby. The pylon is mad. The pylon is absolutely insane. Like, Johnny, I'm going to come to you right now, mate. Let's just examine what on earth has happened. And it was about, 45 minutes ago, mate? 45 minutes ago, the story comes out. There we go. Let me get it up. Here we go. Not that story. That story is, just quickly, I don't want to spend any time on it, but if the Mail on Sport are wrong about the age of his now wife, so Sadio Mane has married his 18-year-old long-term girlfriend. He finally tied the knot after years of paying her bills when she was at school. As you can imagine, by looking at some of the quote, like some of the responses here. There is an absolute pile-on for Sadio Mane and his life choices. However, a lot of people that are familiar with the situation are saying she's not 18, she's 26. If she is 26, that is the biggest lawsuit, I reckon, that Sadio Mane could throw at the male sport I've ever seen.
Does this mean, well, this is terrible news. Does this mean now that we can't get Sadio Mane to come to the country because she could be underage? She could have married him underage. He's scuppered the deal. Levy tries to do Mane deal, but scuppered by child bride marriage. Yeah.
Listen, I don't know I don't even know why it's up on my Twitter feed, but it just happened to be there. It's a strange one. All I'm going to say is you better hope that the male sport are right, otherwise there is a lawsuit coming their way. Let's get to the actual news of what we wanted to talk about, the first bit of the puzzle, because we've got a lot to talk about today, Johnny. You've got to talk about Brian Hill. We've got to talk about three other young players. Where are we? Here we go. But no, wait a minute. Here's the likes. So here we go. Exclusive. Radu Dragusin saga has one more twist. It was 45 minutes ago. Bayern have now sent formal bid to Genoa to hijack the deal. Proposal is slightly higher than Tottenham, the Tottenham one, but no players are included. Understand Spurs remain confident as previously agreed on personal terms. It's up to Dragusin. What's your initial thoughts then, John?
Well, this morning I was thinking enter the Dragusin, to be honest.
Count Dracula is here to drink your blood.
Count Dracula, and I've now entered the Dragusin. Enter the Dragusin. Right? Oh. Look, I said earlier this morning, I think people tend to think that deals are so straightforward. You go to the club, he's for sale, you say you want him, the player says yes, Bob's your uncle. No. The player has requirements. The club selling has requirements. So what do you know we're going to do? They're going to just get rid of him, get the money, and then what? Who's going to play at centre back? Well, they're just going to fall down the table. They have to protect their own interests. And we saw the agent of Dragusin talking absolute toilet for days. My client's going nowhere. My client's got no interest in playing in the Premier League. He wants to stay at Genoa.
Do you know what though, John? He actually, so I was critical of the agent back in November or October when we first were linked with this guy. And I said that this guy's got the best PR. His agent is the best PR, better PR than like owls. Owls are always thought of as like these knowledgeable creatures. Really, they're horrible things, but they've got the best PR of any creature on this planet. Yeah,
it's the eyes. I think.
Yeah. But Radu Dragusin's agent was saying like this guy is the next Virgil van Dijk, and he said he's going to play for a top 10 European team, a Champions League winning outfit by the end of this season. If not in January, then by the summer. And you know what? He might be right. He might be going to Bayern Munich, who have lifted the Champions League, right? So,
look, can I just say, Sean, right? I mean, to all these people, I'm no Levy fan, right? Definitely not. But, what do you want the club to do? They paid 5 million euros for him in July. We're offering 27 million 6 months later. Okay? That's over 5 times profit from what they paid 6 months ago. Let's not say the Spurs have gone in and lowballed. We haven't lowballed. Paying over 5 times what someone paid 6 months ago is 100%. Not a lowball.
100%.
That is a reasonable. Well, I think it's a bloody good offer. Napoli. I never believed the Napoli stories. I really didn't. And look, he's offering Jed Spence something which would appeal to Genoa. Is it something that appeals to Jed Spence? I don't know. But what I do know is, and what I'm finding really struggling to deal with, Sean, a year ago, we were talking about we're one injury away from disaster, at the back and all the rest of it. So what do? We're going to address it. We're going to sort this out. So what do? We get rid of Longley. we get rid of Sanchez, we get rid of Rodon, we get rid of Tanganga. So we get rid of 4 and we bring in 1. Now, I'm not interested, it's better quality. Yeah, there's no doubt it's better quality. But 4 out when you've got an issue and you're threadbare and you bring in 1 is an issue. For me, it's an issue. And we all knew it. We spoke about it in the summer. We're only 1 away from potential disaster. But don't worry, we've got Dyer and we've got this. Now, we bought in Phillips, but, Phillips, let's be honest, Phillips, he's never going to get the minute. So I can't include him. So what do we do now? We've now got 3.
Well, you can include Ashley because he's been sent out on loan to Plymouth.
No, what I mean is I can't include him. I tried to include him into those numbers. So 4-2, 4 out, 2 in.
Yeah.
So I don't think we've strengthened. We've strengthened because Mickey van der Ven is better than the others. No question about it. But as far as depth, injuries, self-harming, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I realised Ashley Phillips wasn't going to play, that's an issue, right? So now we've got rid of Ashley Phillips. We've lost Ben Davies to a bad hammy, okay? Romero's injured. Mickey van der Ven's not 100% fit. We're trying to get rid of Eric Dyer. Why would you do that? Why would you self-harm? To me, it's self-harming. 1 centre-back, people are going on about this centre-back. For me personally, I think it's a joke that we're only looking at 1 centre-back. I don't
think we necessarily are, mate. I think
we're looking at 2.
Yeah, I do now because of Ash Phillips leaving.
Yeah,
Tottenham would have to be an absolute, if there was only the intention of signing 1 and that wasn't wrapped up, and yet today last night they also agreed we're going to come to the Werner news in a second, guys.
But can I just say, Sean?
But they also let go of Ash. Yeah, go on. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I remember us having this conversation where I was, when I said, you do not get rid of Davinson Sanchez for 13 million without bringing someone in because he can play the high line. Whatever you think of Davinson Sanchez, just like what people thought of Davis.
He was the best of the rest
and
for this
Royal,
system.
He was perfect for the system because, he can make a mistake, but his pace allowed him with that high line to get back and tackle.
That was the only redeeming feature of his football for me. Was seeing him sprint back like Mickey van der Ven does, right, and do those slide tackles. He's very, very adept at them.
Yeah, in that Barcelona game, we saw, in the friendly game, we saw a couple of incidents where he got back and fantastic blocks. And we said then, it's suicidal to let him go. But what did we do? We thought more about the 13 million, getting that 13 million in, than the long-term good of the club. I do believe that if Davinson Sanchez had been at this club, for this 6 months, we would not have lost as many games. Here he is, FIFA champion.
Yeah, 60-0.
Is he much to beat though? Come on, Henry. I mean,
well, at the moment, his team is absolutely outrageous. I've just redirected, by the way, so hopefully you see a bit of a jump up. But
yeah, you have. Yeah, I mean, there's 1,300 people in the house. I think that's actually might be a record for the channel. So appreciate all the new faces.
Can't see why that is, Henry. Can you?
I mean, all jokes aside, what are we doing now? Like, why have we not got this done?
Well, I still think we were just talking about. You know what? Let's just press pause for a second on the Dragusin deal, just to show that some of the worst social media I've ever seen. This has just been announced from Tottenham Hotspur.
Is this the Werner thing?
How much of you can hear this?
It's T-ball time.
What on earth is that?
You can barely see anything.
That's not the announcement.
I don't know what it is.
That's the teaser video. It'll get announced later on tonight.
Yeah.
It's done. Timo's in. Timo will be here for at least to give us an option at the top end of the pitch. So congratulations for everyone who's happy about that. Commiserations to everyone who's got a problem with that. But we are where we are. Let's focus back to where we're really going to struggle if we don't sort this out. We were just talking, Henry, about in the summer, with the benefit of hindsight, we made a giant calculation in releasing Davinson Sanchez when we didn't have someone else to come in. I think we probably assumed Eric Dyer was going to leave or Hugo Lloris was going to make room in the squad. He turned down every single opportunity that was offered to him. So we had no space in the squad anyway. And then we were going after players like Chalobah, who Chelsea, I don't know why we suddenly thought after, one transfer in 25 or 30 years, why Chelsea would be the right place to go on deadline day. It was what it was. We got away with it for the first 10 games. Then we didn't. Now, let's zoom forward to January the 9th. January the 8th, we get rid of Ash Phillips. That, to me, was a sign that Tottenham are supremely confident that we're going to get Dragusin done. And if not just that, then maybe also pivot and go for a second one, whether that's a Lloyd Kelly, an Andreas Christensen, a Loic Barde. There's a bunch of different names out there. But, I mean, all of a sudden, we're now thinking Emerson Royale is our only fit centre-back who's not even a centre-back, and Van der Ven is the only other one who hasn't played a minute of football in 3 months. Henry, what's your thoughts immediately?
Just to add to that, Henry, I was just going to say, Henry, where you were, I don't know if you heard, I was saying, we were in dire straits, okay, with our centre-back numbers, and what we did, we got rid of 4. We got rid of 4 centre-backs, and we brought in 1, in Mickey Van der Ven. We all know that Mickey Van der Ven is better than Sanchez, Tanganga, Longley, and whatever. But those bodies were important bodies if you got injuries. We went into the season with 1, and now we're getting to the stage where we are day 9, 10. We've lost 3 of our centre backs now because Davis is out for quite a while with his hamstring, and Mickey Van der Ven has literally just come back. How long can we rely on him? And Romero's gone, and they're trying to get rid of Dyer. Why would you, when the club is in such a position like this now, not have tied up 2 centre backs?
I'll be honest. I just look. I'm trying to give a balance view. I'm not trying to be emotionally reactional here, but if we were as interested of Dragusin as what all the media has said the last 10 to 11 days, right? Then this deal should have been wrapped up before that Burnley game. But like I've said, and I've remained honest throughout the whole time, we're not signing a defender from an elite level football club, right? Now you can see how interested we are. Romano's kept it as his number 1 pin tweet for the last week. He's coming out saying we're in the final stage. We've put money on the table. We've agreed the fee. He's spoken to Ange Postecoglou. He believes in the project and all that good stuff. If that was the case and the deal was agreed today, then why didn't he get on a flight earlier today? His agent has said, hang on a minute, Bayern Munich is still lurking. If they come back in, let's be honest, let's just call it for what it is. If Bayern Munich come calling and Tottenham come calling, you've got to be, and I mean a very rare breed to choose Tottenham right now over Bayern Munich. Playing with the likes of Harry Kane, Musiala, playing in the Champions League, probably going to get higher wages, and have got a much higher chance of winning a trophy. That's fine.
You reckon higher wages?
Yeah. Bayern Munich's highest paid players on 370,000 euros a week.
Yeah, but he's not going to be on that. He'll be their 4th choice centre back.
Well, no, because De Ligt's going, and they've got an injury.
Where's he going?
Apparently, he's going somewhere in Italy, and they've got an injury to
Kim Min Jae.
No, the other one.
Upamecano.
Yeah,
Upamecano. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so he won't be. He'll play a lot of football. Plus, they're still in 2 competitions. So he's going to get a lot of game time. Plus, we're still
in 2 competitions.
Yeah, I know, but we're not going to win a title this season. Bayern Munich probably will. What's worrying for us is it's a centre-back playing for a 13th place in Italy. Paratici has got a fantastic list he's got more contacts, right, than Specsavers out in flipping Italy. Why are we messing around about this?
Because
negotiations aren't easy.
I get that. But if the backup options, like similarly to what we did with Vicario, then fine. I'm absolutely happy with that. But the point is, Ange Postecoglou said, I want signings done ASAP. We all come out on YouTube, on whatever social network you use, we all come out and said, right, that get the signing done before Burnley. Now we're saying get the signing done before Man United. Now it's going to be get the signing done before Brentford. We can't go any longer without getting a centre back in.
No, listen, look, Henry, I can't disagree with what you're saying here, but I've got to say, look, this guy has been rated at Juventus, right? I mean, there is the draw of him have been friends and having a relationship with Lolo and Kulu from his time at Juventus. There is that sort of bond. But I've got to say, the intricacies of doing a deal are so simplified by fans. They have no concept of the inner workings of what goes into a transfer and the people
I know all
involved.
the financial.
I know, but no,
it's
not just that, Henry. There is that financial, but you've got the dark forces working behind. The club like Genoa, right? The agent who's been very vocal, saying he's never going to Spurs. He doesn't want to go to the Premier League. And as like you said earlier, this guy's going to play for a Champions League club. He's not leaving now. He wants to finish the project. He's got lots to say. Also, Genoa, what are they going to do? They're going to sell the player. Then what? Or are they going to plummet down the league because they don't have a quality centre-back? They play three at the back, Genoa. Okay, and he plays in the middle of the three. They need to find a player. He's just selling the player for the money. What's them have got a clawback, I think 20% of the fee. I just think that I'm like you. I'm pissed off that the deal hasn't been done, but I think that it's not always Spurs' fault. This thing, I don't believe is Spurs' fault. When you offer over 5 times what Genoa paid for him in July, they paid €5 million and we're offering 27. And people are saying we're lowballing. We're not lowballing. 27 plus 5 million add-ons is not lowballing for when you're paying 5 or 6 times what the initial fee was. I think the thing is that the agent, like you mentioned before, Sean, is hanging for a top club. He
wants a payday. That's exactly what he wants.
The payday. And not only that, he's saying, look, we got to deal with Tottenham. Anyone else interested? Going. Napoli, this one, that one, and now Bayern Munich. I'd like to think that maybe if he has had a conversation with Ange, that he could have convinced him potentially, especially with the likes if they've got Kulu and or Benton Core to have had a word with him to see if they could switch him round.
You're on mute, Sean.
You're mutey, Sean.
Sorry. Let's figure out what the value proposition here. If you are Dragusin right now, Tottenham, according to Romano, is saying that Tottenham still feel confident because they've already agreed personal terms. They've had the conversation. So if we're assuming, I'm not sure that Bayern Munich would pay better wages. I mean, I don't. Maybe they would. Maybe they wouldn't. Just because they've got the highest top earner doesn't mean much. There's more money generally to be paid in wages in the Premier League. More minutes? Are you going to get more minutes between now or over the next 4 years of your time? Are you going to get more minutes in a Tottenham shirt than you are in a Bayern Munich shirt? I would say yes. Are you going to sign for a manager who has just started a project versus one that potentially will be out of the door if they don't win either the Champions League or God forbid they don't win the Bundesliga? Thomas Tuchel, is he really the personality that's winning, that's going to get on the phone and convince you to come versus an Ange Postecoglou? I know that Harry Kane managed to sway or managed to sort of lend his ear towards the Bayern project overstaying with Ange. But, Ange was instrumental in convincing Timo Werner to choose us over Manchester United. Most of the players that Tottenham have signed have said that having a conversation with Ange Postecoglou was the difference. They all walked away going, Maddison said it, they all walked away going, wow, I want to play for that guy. Does Dragusin speak German? I know apparently he speaks English. Does he speak German? I don't know if that's necessary or a thing.
Just on Bayern's wage thing, they've got 10 players on over £200,000 a week, whereas we've only got 1.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
you know what? I was just going to say, Henry, just quickly. I was just going to say, if it was me, if I was advising the player, I would be saying at the age of 21, you could come to Spurs and within 2 years establish yourself and still get your move to your Bayern Munich, to your Juventus or what have you. I don't think at 21, if he was 25 years of age, I'm going to Bayern Munich. I just think at 21 years of age, as he's growing, I think, if I was advising him, I would be saying you're going to get more game time, and for your development, you should be going to Tottenham or a like-minded club. and then develop your game. It's a step up from Genoa. It's a massive step up.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, you could say, come to Bayern Munich. We're in the Champions League. You can be part of our Champions League campaign. Learn from the experienced players like Thomas Muller, Kimmich, Harry Kane, Neuer, and be part of our squad. That could make history. The problem we've got is, I don't want to come across negative here because I am trying to take a balanced approach. But if Bayern Munich and Tottenham come in, we've got to really prod this player and say, look, we want you. Because if certain clubs like Bayern Munich, City, Madrid, all the big boys come in, we've got to make that incentive to come to Tottenham that much higher now. So if Bayern Munich are coming with an improved bid, I don't know if Daniel Levy's going to match that bid. Jed Spence, another thing, Ali Gold said he's not fully convinced by the move. Does our deal hinge on the Spence move? By the way, Jed Spence, we just need to get rid of this guy, regardless of the Dragusin deal. I think he's literally in his squad because he's homegrown. Let's be honest.
Apparently, Daniel Levy, or you were telling me earlier, Henry, weren't you? When I was on Dog Walk, you were saying that. Where did you hear this? That Daniel Levy has held his hands up in behind the scenes and said,
there was ITK saying it behind the scenes that Daniel Levy is happy to get rid of Jed Spence because he feels he's made a mistake on it.
Well, at least he's owning the mistakes.
I can't comment for obvious reasons.
Is he part of base? Is he? Okay, we'll stop talking about it.
I was just going to say, look, I was very confident that we were going to be singing "Ra Ra Dragusin," and I thought that's what we were going to be singing this morning.
Was that the song? Was that what the song was going to be?
"Ra Ra Dragusin," yeah, Romania's greatest goal machine or whatever you want to call it. But look, gotcha. I think the deal will go through. I just have this feeling that all sides are trying to do the deal. I did say, Henry, of all the defenders, why have Bayern got to go for this guy? All I know is...
It seems to be like, though, Johnny, that there's like I've been saying it for a while. I'm sure everyone's been saying it for a long time, that the striker market is high demand, short supply. But I think that the defender market is also, coming up and seemingly being just as high demand and relatively short supply. I think Liverpool, in the Premier League, you could think of 5 teams that we're competing with, all of whom are looking for a new centre-back. United will probably wait for Todibo. Newcastle can't really afford one right now with their FFP, but are certainly in the hunt. Liverpool definitely are. Tottenham are. Chelsea might want to go again, even though that they've got about 5 or 6 of them. There's a reason why Tosin or Lloyd Kelly specifically is touted around. Barcelona might be forced to liquidate Andreas Christensen. But really, there's not that many that are emerging that clubs are willing to
Fabio.
To sell.
That's Fabio, isn't it? Look. I've had this conversation. I've fielded so much crap for probably 18 months now, up until last year. When I was saying how great a job Fabio was doing before he became con Paratici, and I stand by it. Look at. Why are we buying Mickey van der Ven? We should have bought Tapsoba. Why are we buying Vicario? We should have bought.
That's what I'm saying. If there's a backup who comes in who's just as good, then a lot of people are going to shut their mouth. The problem we've got is right now, there's not even a glimpse of another link.
But you heard.
Oh, no, there are. There's lots of links out there.
No, but like this centre back from Sevilla. I mean, if we want to get him done for that Man United game, he's got to be registered in the next 48 hours.
But Henry, what you just said there, right, is classic. So when we didn't sign Tobido, right, and we're going for this, who's this Romanian guy, right? That's what you got, right? Straight away, had we signed him, typical Levy, we ended up signing the option B, right? Yeah. Now this is faltering. People are asking, why is there not another option? I believe he spots incredible talent. When we bought Papa Sarr, there was questions. The people who didn't watch any Italian football, who didn't know Adoji, they didn't realise what an amazing signing he's been. And I think he's transformed the club. And I do believe that somehow or other, he will pull it out. And whatever you think about the Timo Werner deal, I think it's genius. Whether I agree with the player coming in or not, I think £4 million, no-brainer, for a guy to come in and offer what he's going to offer to us, whether he scores goals or not. He's offering extra dimension, and for £4 million, this could transform our season up front. I think it's a master deal.
You know, one of the things. Yeah, let's just pivot for a second away from the centre back. So I'm certainly not done with the conversation because I do think there's a chance that we are going to have to pivot here. But the one thing that I think there's been demonstrated to us as fans over the last, since Paratici's time, essentially, is he spins a lot of plates, right? He's having a lot of conversations going at once. Not all of them are like, some of them will be, made up links in the aggregators put out there just to connect the dots. But sometimes out of nowhere, these players come in. No one heard about Vicario and it was done. No one knew about Dragusin and it was suddenly there. No one heard about Timo Werner. And there were some elements of the fan base are saying, if everyone is so happy with Timo Werner, then why wasn't anybody talking about signing Timo Werner before we signed Timo Werner?
Because that's
my response
smart.
to that is, it's not for us as fans to sit there and identify valuable talent that could fit the system. It's us as channels. We talk about what's in the news. We don't create the news. We sort of respond to the news, right? Give our thoughts on it. And Timo Werner makes sense. But you hope that when you've got people like Paratici, Rob McKenzie, Scott Munn, all the guys that are in the background and the scouting network at Tottenham, you hope that even if Dragusin does fall over, all right, that might put paid to us having a defender out there for the United game, and that will be an absolute kick in the teeth. But you hope that there is still a plan, like there is still 2 or 3 other names that we are, conversing with right now on the off chance that Bayern Munich do actually gazump us here. Thoughts?
I mean,
Henry?
Sorry, I'd have 2 voice notes playing at the same time. Can you just repeat the last little bit you just said? Sorry.
Hassan messaging
me, giving me a load of crap for a voice note.
When you go on a minute monologue and then you sit there waiting for a response and no one offers one, you kind of go,
no,
I'm talking to myself.com.
All right, he was waiting for me, was you? Go on, sorry, Sean, repeat that. What did you say?
No, what I was saying was that we've seen over the Paratici, bloody hell, what am I doing here? What are we doing? You've seen over the Paratici sort of timeline that even when players like don't work out, suddenly a new name materializes out of nowhere and the deal gets done. We saw it with Vicario. All the noise was on Raya. Suddenly Vicario was there. Werner came out of nowhere. And to me, some of the responses, some of the reactions that happen in the community in our space here is that if everyone is so happy with Timo Werner, then why weren't any of you talking about Timo Werner before Timo Werner became the new name on everyone's lips? And my answer is, it's not for us to find the talent necessarily, even though I try to do it on Wisecout and other people try and talk about them. Generally, we respond to the news. We don't create the news. But you hope that when you have 3 or 4 people like a Rob McKenzie, like a Paratici, like all those guys, you hope that if this one does happen to fall apart, that there is someone else that's waiting in the wings. They might not be in by the United game, but you hope that it's not going to be back to square one.
Yeah, we were told there was 4 or 5 options in various positions for targets we needed. We were told that they had multiple options as a forward, multiple options, whether that's Jota, whether that's Timo Werner, whether that's this player, that player. We were told that there was multiple options as a centre-back, whether that's this young lad from Sevilla, whether that's Todibo, whether that's Dragusin. The problem is, like what you just said, you hope there's one in the wings. We need a centre-back in ASAP. Like, it's regardless if you're Levy in, Levy out, we all agree right now we need a centre-back in.
We need 2. We need 2.
Yeah. So what I would do if it was me personally, this Romano report that come out that we were prepared to put big money down on the table, right? Go and offer them Jed Spence and the big money and go and get Todibo in. The two or 3 reasons why. 1, it shows the intent. 2, Todibo at the moment, I think, isn't he putting Saliba out of the France team?
Yeah.
Whether that's just PR from Romano, or if we're not going to do that, go and get Tosin Adebayo in and then go get another centre-back in of Van der Ven level.
The problem you got, Henry, is that I've wanted Tosin since last summer. The problem is Tosin values and rates himself very highly. He does not want to come at a club and sit on the bench. Now, if you've got European football, that's not going to happen. But it's convincing him. is he of the same? Is he of the right character that Ange wants? I mean, it's all about character. Personally, for me, I prefer how we've done the business of we've signed a player and no one knew anything about it. We signed Vicario, we never knew. We signed Timo, because back in the day, that's how transfers happened. Where you didn't know and suddenly it was done. Spurs have just signed this one, or Spurs have just signed that one. That's how it used to be. There wasn't endless days and weeks of discussing the transfer. Yes, there were some drawn out ones, but like a Bale or like a Kane and stuff. But going back further, it never used to happen. So a Timo Werner that came out the blue, or a Vicario came out the blue, I'm all for it. I prefer it, and I'm hoping that if this does go down, I still believe it's going to happen. Maybe I'm delusional, but from what I'm hearing, I'm still hopeful it will get done. There's another defender that we've not thought about. I mean, I will be happy if it's Tosin. I will be happy if it's the Japanese boy at Borussia Mönchengladbach. Kept his name now. You know who I'm talking about, Sean?
Ko Itakura.
Itakura, yeah.
He's a brilliant player. I'd love Ko Itakura. For me, he's not quite as big and strong and tough in the tackle as the likes of Arde. Yeah, but he's not. He's a big. He's a tall guy, but for me, he's more of a ball playing centre back, which I like. One of my reservations about Dragusin. Not that I'm now finding a reason to not be on board it, because I love the idea of Dragusin coming in. I think that the defender's first responsibility is to defend. It helps if they're brilliant on the ball. For me, Itakura is a really, really interesting player with his passing stats. And if you look at him, he zips the ball like Romero.
I really like him.
He's a really good player. I like the other fella, the other guy who plays for. What's his name? I did a report on him back in the summer. Left-sided Japanese centre back, or Korean centre back. I forget. No, Japanese centre back. I'll think of his name in a second.
Japanese solicitor, Sasumi.
What happens? Let me ask you something, guys, right? And everyone in the chat. If we just bring in just Lloyd Kelly and no other centre back this month, if it's just Lloyd Kelly,
sorry,
are we all going to stand there and say, like?
Who do we blame for this? I got some super chats here. Let's like hypothetically move into a world where you get a here we go, Dragusin to Bayern Munich, signs on a 4-year deal for 32 million. Right? Let's nightmare scenario. Faz is asking whose fault is it if we do lose Dragusin? He said it's Daniel Levy for sure. Let me just put this out there. If Daniel Levy is still doing what he's always done, which is handle the actual specific negotiations, that's one thing. But negotiations are based on perceived value, right? Now, I would hope, these days has learned enough lessons to not, he doesn't know what the value of the player is. Hopefully, he's leaning into the scouts and the talent ID squad and saying, how much is this guy really worth? How much is he worth to us? How much do you think he's worth to them? And then figuring out, they'll come to some number, and then Daniel Levy or whoever it is, but maybe Levy is then responsible for doing the negotiations. So if it's down to the club or the scouts and that saying, no, he's worth 32 million, and then Daniel Levy is then starting the ball rolling with an 18 million euro bid or whatever, and that's the reason why this has been, gazumped and hijacked, and that obviously falls on Daniel Levy, right? But if it's not, if it's a case of the talent team have said he's not worth anything more than 30 million,
but at the same time,
does that change the narrative at all?
So my understanding, right, that we've got a recruitment kind of little team now, right? We've got Langar, we've got Manu's in there, we've got new head of scouts, right? If Bayern Munich are rating this centre back, then he's not going to be he's going to be a very good up and coming player. If one of the biggest clubs, probably top 5 clubs in world football, are looking at him as a 21 years of age Romanian international who come out of Juventus' academy, he's going to be a half decent player.
100%.
The problem we've got is we first were linked with this guy on the 28th of December. Bayern Munich were first linked to this guy yesterday. That's when there's probably a lot of things behind closed doors we don't know about. Let's leak it to the press now. Let's cover things up. Let's play Chinese whispers. But we've had let's say, just on hypothetical terms, we've had a weak advantage. If we rated this guy and let's say Daniel Levy's leading negotiations, then you put the blame on Daniel Levy. I've been in recruitment jobs, I've been in sales jobs where you got someone screaming down your ear, I want this amount of money, and you've got clients screaming down your ear, and you're trying to juggle up annual leave, all the other things in a negotiation will, right? If Daniel Levy has the final say on this, whether he's leading negotiation or whether he's leading or the recruitment team, there will be a backup option. There always is a backup option. When we didn't get Diaz, it was Rodon. The problem we've got is 2 weeks later, there will be reports that will come out. Tottenham were prepared to put 70 million on the table for Bastoni. Tottenham were prepared to put big money on the table for Todibo. So if we're prepared to do that 2 or 3 weeks later, why didn't we do it in the first place? That's what.
Well, because I think the big money, you'd pay a different amount of money for Todibo than you would for Dragusin. Right? Like you're not going to pay. You're not paying 50 grand for a Range Rover. You're not paying 50 grand for a.
No, but he's 21 years of age, right? And he's wanted by Bayern Munich. Surely that's got to be ringing alarm bells in your head if you're leading this negotiation.
We didn't know he was wanted by Bayern Munich until yesterday.
Well, no, there was clear. Look, that agent is going to be speaking to multiple clubs.
Yeah, correct.
Look,
The
agent, you know, there's big fish in that pond. You know that. So if you're leading the negotiation, you've got to say we've got to move. We've got to step up the pace here. We've got a deadline. We've got players out injured. We've got big games coming up. Imagine. Let me put a scenario out there. Imagine if we don't have a centre back in by that FA Cup game.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at it from, I'm just saying, Henry, you're looking at it, we're looking at it from our perspective. And unfortunately, when you do a transfer, it's not one perspective, it's 3 or 4 perspective. And the problem here is the agent will be saying to him, Radu, there is no need to rush. We're day 9 in the January transfer window. We'll play our cards, right?
Yeah.
Don't listen to Tottenham. Other clubs are interested in you. Let's see how it plays out. You will get your move. We might be able to up the stakes. We'll use other clubs to push Tottenham. Now, listen, I've got to tell you, right, I'm not a Levy fan, right? I'm a Levy outer, okay? But I'm not going to sit here and listen to there's something wrong here when we have offered 27 million plus 5 million add-ons for a player that cost 5 million euros 6 months ago, right? That's not lowballing. Lowballing is Levy of old, where he goes in with some stupid offer. I'm sorry.
But why did it take us 9 days?
We paid the asking price, right? Like, according to all reports last night, Pletzigo and everybody else.
Yeah, we've met the asking price. But why have we taken we've left it so late now? Well, not late, because we're only 9 days in. But we've left it quite long in the negotiation for the player that now there's bigger fish in the pond.
Well,
do you reckon if Daniel Levy turned around on January the 1st and went, here's 30 million, 25 and 5, don't you think that
if they said the asking price was,
that Napoli would turn around and go, well, if that's your starting price,
I think he joins us over Napoli. I'm not worried about Napoli.
No,
sorry, not Napoli. Sorry, Genoa. Sorry, what I'm saying is, if we offered Genoa what we offered them yesterday, if we offered them on the 1st of January, do you think that there's a chance that Genoa would turn around and just say, well, if that's what you're coming in, if that's your starting bid, then
no, you test the waters, don't you? It's how negotiation work. But if they said we want 30 million euro, or originally it was 35, then it come down to 30. If they said that's what we wanted, you go immediately. Well, you don't go immediately.
First of all, from 32, they went up. They wanted 35. Then Genoa came down to 30. Spurs offered 27. They said they wanted more, right? They've offered 27 plus 5 add-ons, which is 32, which is potentially 2 million more euros than what they accepted. But of course, that's add-ons and his performance.
But even that, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge amount of money for a footballer nowadays. And I get he was only worth 5 million quid a year ago. Caicedo was £6 million 2 years later, went for 120.
Henry. 6 months, mate. 6 months.
Yeah, I know. This is what you're paying for now. You're paying for the potential. It's the world's gone mad. You talk about Bruno Gomares. PSG, Newcastle valuing him at £100 million. He's not a £100 million player. No chance. That's just the way the market's gone. It's gone absolutely insane.
Never for our players, though. We're going to talk about Brian Hill because there's rumours coming. We'll talk about them in a minute. I just got to get through a few super chats here. First and foremost, Brian Brown. Shout out to you, my man. Really, he's gone. He's got back in a minute. Really appreciate you. Oh, you're still there. Really appreciate the joining of the member guys. If anyone wants to become a member, the links are down in the join button. I can't get it, but there's 2 options. One of them's I think £2 or £2.50 a month. The other one's a £5. And there is priorities pull-ups and fan phoning shows and stuff, all that good stuff. But I really appreciate it. Loves music. We've done this one already. We have no proof. It's on Levy. The pylon is mad. James Watts has come in. He is a Levy out. Big up to you, mate. Get your voice heard. Blaine's in the house. Big up, Blaine. Good to see you, my man. He says, big up, guys.
Big up,
I'm just
Blaine.
laughing all day at the Levy out crew on Twitter over this. Look, if he wants to come to us, then great. If he doesn't, you think we won't have another backup? Come on, you Spurs. Blaine, if you're on Twitter, now that's going to be out there. People are going to come for you. People are going to come for you. Like they came for Henry the other day.
I got an absolute pelters, and I was called a Twitter bully just because I said, well, I'm not even going to get into it, but it's, you know when Lee Judges is going, I don't care. That's what I was sitting there. The amount of people, the amount of DMs I've had in the last hour, quote tweeting this, it's just madness.
Look, Twitter is a cesspit, but everyone's opinion is out there. Look, I think there's an element of the Levy out guys, Levy out camp or whatever that if there's an opportunity,
it's a cuddly environment where people embrace each other.
Everyone's friendly, everyone loves each other, everyone wants the best. No one says a nasty word. Twitter, if you haven't found it, go. You'll really enjoy yourself. But Blaine, yeah, look. I mean, the guys on Twitter, a lot of people that are in the Levy out camp will use any stick to bash Levy, but there's a lot of people in the Levy out camp as well that aren't like that. I don't think Johnny's unreasonable. I think Johnny's Levy out, but he's very reasonable. He'll treat the situation on the merit, and he doesn't necessarily want to come down too harsh on Levy if this one falls apart, but he still holds him accountable for perceived wrongdoings in the past, right? So appreciate you, Blaine.
You have a balanced opinion on it now.
Yeah, I think you can have a balanced opinion, but ultimately, none of us know the details of what's gone on here, do we? We're all speculating as to why or what's happening. I'm still 80-20 in favor of him joining Tottenham. I think that there's so many little insignificant, like the non-insignificant things, like the fact that he's mates with Bentancur, the fact that he's mates with Kulusevski, the fact that Tottenham might be going back to Juve to get Illing Jr. later on in the window. The fact that there's a little camp of Juventus people here at Tottenham, I think all those things help people settle in. I don't know if
the thing that's worrying though is it's Bayern Munich. That it doesn't matter how many friends we've got. If we were in the Champions League, he'd join us. I strongly believe he'd join us if we were in the Champions League. But
that's a one season thing, right? If you sell the project, we're going to be in the Champions League next year.
It's so.
I've just said the bigger question, Henry, is should we be signing a player like him who wears a man bun?
Well, the thing is, when you actually look at the data behind it, when you look at all the numbers behind his passing, we all first looked at him and went, why are we getting him? It makes no sense. He's not a ball playing centre back. Yes, he's a defender who likes to defend. Now we're all kind of
ping as well. He's Lord of the Pings.
Don't steal my one-liners.
Okay.
He is though.
But he plays in a
short passing's not great. His zipping is the zippy pass isn't great, and that's what sometimes you need. But you know what? If we don't get this guy, and we're going to turn our attention to Loic Bardet of Seville, I think you got exactly a very similar type of player. A defender's defender, loves to smash, loves to crunch and everything. But again, if you look at his passing stats,
Arteta 0 cups in 4 seasons.
Hang on, I'm not looking. I'll get the comments up in a second and get through some of these super chats.
Make sense? Doesn't Tosin make sense?
Yeah.
6'5", pace, power,
homegrown,
brought through the Manchester City Academy, knows what it's like to win. He ticks every box for me. He's perfect for Angie's system. The only problem is we can't convince him to come because he wants first team football. That's the only.
You say that, but how many times? I mean, Romero averages 28 games a season through suspensions and injuries.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's going to get plenty of game time.
But when you believe in yourself, he left Manchester City because he wanted game time, not because he didn't think he was good enough. He thought he was better and he left because he wanted to play. Now he wants to leave Fulham because he thinks he's better than Fulham and he can go on to a better club. Now, free transfer in the summer,
Yeah, that's the other thing. A lot of the people, I'll say it 1,000 times, I'll say it one more. A lot of people think if you can sign a player for free that the buying club somehow gets them cheaper. They don't. The same money changes hands. It just depends where it goes. Does it go to the selling club or does it go to the agent and the player in signing on fees? Espen Anderson, big up mate, says get get out of it, Bayern Munich, come take Dyer. Do we just go for Todibo, go big for Todibo if we get Highjack? Look, I mean, I think with the Todibo thing, unfortunately, money might not just be the only factor here. I think that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is probably also, got him lined up to go to Manchester United. I know that the story that's out in the press is saying that the reason why Todibo won't leave Nice in January is not because he's going to United, it's because of money or the lack of desire. But I think that the Ratcliffe thing is still relevant. SOF here, I'll ask you to handle this one for me, Henry. But when you're in the market for a new job, do you take the first offer or wait for multiple and best offer / fit? 3 weeks left in the window. He has time to decide. Spurs clearly haven't sold him yet.
Depends what situation you're in. If you're, when you're in the market for a new job and you could get one offer on a table, and then you could get 2 more offers on the table next week. It just depends on what's the most attractive offer. I mean, I've been in positions where what I've always found is when you're in a job, you get loads of people poach you. When you're out of a job, it's a lot harder to get a job. Whenever you're in the city working, all of a sudden you get headhunters contact you on LinkedIn all the flipping time. But do you take the first offer? No, you wait for the best offer to come to you.
You just answered it, Henry. If you were Dragusin's agent,
yeah, I know how this works. Yeah,
what would you be telling him now? We've got plenty of time, son.
Relax. Yeah, you got. Plenty.
I think it's a really good point. Appreciate the super chat,
wait for the most money, and you got to remember that agent's probably going to get a massive fee out of this.
Correct.
Massive fee. Maybe that's what he's waiting for. Maybe that's what it's going to take. Maybe he's hoping that there's some panic at the end of the phone. Let's be honest, right? It's very unusual for Tottenham to have sent over an official offer. What was it? 11 o'clock last night, midnight in.
Yes.
In
why didn't he get on a plane first thing this morning? Because they knew. It's not Minio Raiola, Pogba's agent, the one who died, IRP. He used to play clubs against each other like 4D chess.
Of course.
He'd be in their ear going, "Oh, he's going to Man United." What are you
I think Tottenham panicked last night. Like, this is where I'll give the people, like the Levy out, the guys that are annoyed. I said this on the video I did this morning. The guys that are annoyed with Daniel Levy about this, or the club generally, I think that whilst I don't necessarily agree with the knee-jerk kind of pendulum swings of everything's good to everything's disastrous all the time, I do think that there is a bit of pressure that the social media people at Tottenham will be monitoring what's going on, what's happening with the trending, the Levy out trending, all that stuff. And I do think that the prospect, when it came out late yesterday afternoon that Bayern Munich were interested and were preparing a bid, and then all of a sudden Tottenham put in a bid at 11 o'clock UK time, midnight to Genoa, that reeks of a bit of a panic. It reeks of, oh wait, we haven't got as much time here. There is someone else sniffing around. Let's get that bid and get it done and formalize it and send it over, because you wouldn't normally send over an offer at midnight. And then today this has happened. So I think that there is some rationale here for the people on Twitter that have some sort of apathy towards Tottenham's model generally, to keep leaning into it, because I do think it applies pressure to the club to act quicker than they would otherwise do. And sometimes we do come across a little bit asleep at the wheel in situations like this.
Romano's just tweeted, Sean. I've just shared it down the bottom if you want to bring it up.
What's going on?
Dragusin has to decide his future in the next hours. Jannar will accept both Bayern and Spurs bid as revealed. 25 million euros plus 5 million and Jed Spence on loan from Spurs. Bit more than 30 million from Bayern. Spurs hope Dragusin will confirm personal terms agreement. The thing is, as well, another thing that Ali Gold...
We're hoping that we're just a gentleman's handshake that happened a few days ago.
And that's not a gentleman. We all know from
William,
from being burned quite a few times in the past, a gentleman's handshake doesn't necessarily mean what it used to mean 30 years ago. Another pointing thing on this as well is Ali Gold said that Jed Spence wasn't fully happy just being shipped out to Genoa. Now, I don't
never seems happy, does he?
I don't think I think we could do that as a separate deal to Genoa, even if we don't sign Dragusin. We just got to get rid of that guy immediately. But
it's not true, Johnny. You saying?
I'm not saying any more than that.
But it's not true that he wasn't happy.
He's not interested, and he didn't want to go. He's got no interest in it.
That's not true. Okay.
They look. I'm not saying any more than that.
Is that just PR then?
No, I'm just.
No, I get it. Yeah, look, Johnny knows a thing or two, but he can't always say a thing or two.
Yeah, I get
appreciate it. Appreciate the super chat, SOF's good talking point, mate. We've also got a member for 6 months, Orox Beats, saying it's all Levy's fault, and you are a mug if you defend him.
The problem is someone's going to cop the accountability. Someone always has to be accountable for whatever action in life comes to hand.
We're trying to be balanced, Rock, right? I'm not a Levy in, I'm Levy out. But what we're saying here is when you offer nearly 6 times the value of a player that
6
was
months ago.
6 months ago, you can't accuse him of lowballing. I'm sorry.
The problem everyone's going to argue, though, Johnny, is that's not what he's valued at now. Like,
yeah, but we paid the value. We've offered what they asked, right? We've offered them 30 million. It's been accepted.
We offered them 25 million.
Now it comes down to the player and what the player wants.
We haven't exactly offered we've offered them 25 million and 5 million.
It's been accepted, but
it has been accepted.
It's been accepted, right? So it's not down to the club telling Dragusin you going to Tottenham. It's over to Dragusin to decide whether he wants to go to Bayern or Tottenham, and that's a different thing.
Yeah,
that's
a completely different argument. If we
we
went in with just a 30 million flat bid, like I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on in that room.
Like, this is the point. Even I think Johnny and I are making the same point here, and I appreciate you, Henry, taking the devil's advocate on it. But like, I feel like even if we had put the price in earlier, I think Johnny's point is the agent here is playing 4D chess. The agent's saying there's no rush. Just because Tottenham are in a rush doesn't mean you have to be.
Correct.
Think about it. Let's have a word with some other people. Let's see who else needs a defender. And there's lots and lots of teams that need a defender. Newcastle would like to be involved in this deal from what I've heard, but they can't because they haven't got the FFP clearance. Liverpool have got ideas.
Who do you reckon we're going to get him? If it's not,
I think Dragusin's going to choose Tottenham, but I'm just saying that because
I think he'll come.
I think Ange has got a brilliant way with words.
Who would you say? I mean, Sean, I'm not being funny. If you were sat in a room and you had to listen to 15 minutes of Thomas Tuchel or 15 minutes of Ange, right? I mean, I'm just trying to balance this up here. I know where I would go, and it's not just with my Spurs hat on. You know, when I heard Thomas Tuchel, and we were linked with Thomas Tuchel, and I've listened to him talk. Don't really like it. I don't get.
The problem is it's on the ambition of the player. If he's got ambitions to play in a team that's starting out their kind of, I hate using the buzzword process, but let's say starting out our journey, and we've got ambitions to challenge for league titles in 3 or 4 years, or you join a club that wins every year, but don't necessarily has the same. Like, a lot of people don't value the winning the Bundesliga as the same winning the Premier League. The thing that Bayern Munich that can offer that we can't is they're always challenging for that Champions League. And now, as a player,
and look, it might come down to again. It could be the player's desire, but how the player's 21 years old, so he's probably going to be taking a lot of direction from his advisors, and that's going to be his family, and it's going to be also his agent, right? And his agent, let's be honest, all agents are out for themselves to some degree. He might be. Even, I wouldn't put it past this agent if he's turning around and having a chat with Paratici or whoever the main sort of conduit is at Tottenham. And the same with whoever the guy is at Bayern Munich and going, do you know what? Maybe an extra £500,000 as a little signing bonus for yours truly. That might be the difference in me telling Radu, where his best interests lay. You just don't know what sort of these people are like, what they're up to. We got another.
If I was his agent, I would be telling him, do not be seduced. Do not be seduced. Sam Mokel. Don't be seduced by the name. I do feel, like I said before, at 21 years of age, if you want to further your career, personally, I think you go to Tottenham. At 21 years of age, you establish yourself in the next run of that ladder. And at 23, which is still incredibly young, you then can be, if you have 2 years of playing great football, like a Mickey van der Ven, like a Romero has, suddenly your value would go from, 30 million to 60, 70 million. And then the world is your oyster, still at 23, 24 years of age, to get that big move to a top club like a Bayern Munich or a Juventus or wherever he might want to go. I just think that he is not going to go, in my opinion, he's not going to go to Bayern Munich and spend the next 9 years at Bayern Munich. That's my take on it.
Listen, I hope you're right, mate. I think you make a good point. I don't know who's pulling the strings in this conversation. Now we're at the point where it's over to the player. What does that really mean? Is it the player, or is it his mum and dad? Is it his friends? Is it his family? Is it the agent? Who is it that's now leaning in, and what do they want? And does Tottenham, like, I think there was a super chat a minute ago saying we shouldn't have a gun pointed to our head. I think that's Love's music. Shout out to you, Loves. I think it's a good point. You know, but maybe, and I think that Daniel Levy, if there was a phone call that said, an extra 200 grand or an extra whatever would sway it your way. I don't know if Daniel Levy's the sort of person that likes to do that sort of thing, especially if there's a gentleman's agreement. So anyway, just give me 2 seconds there, Johnny. I was going to get through this. Blaine Dev, mate, shout out to you, Blaine. 5 gifted memberships, mate. Very generous. Mark Cousins, Cold Shot, Wilson T, Mark, and D Sinclair. You guys have been gifted memberships by Blaine, so make sure you say massive thank you to him. And I'll see you guys on the fan show, which I'm going to start hopefully this week, Thursday or Friday. Another new member from Spurs the Greatest. Shout out to you, my man. Not sure if you're a pony or a puppy or my lady. I'm not sure who you are. I really appreciate you. And also Sam as well. Really appreciate the support for the show. Simon D with a super chat. Mabbott's offered to come back as an apology for drawing City yesterday. I love Gary Mabbott. I'm not going to tell you my Gary Mabbott story anymore, but he let us down a little bit yesterday, didn't he, guys? We could have got something better.
He did a bit. Listen, guys, if you're in the room and you've got a lot of viewers there, just hit that like button. It's very easy.
Yeah. Also, guys, can you make sure you get over to Henry Wright TV? I'll put the links in the title, and I'm going to get them up as well. And also Johnny on Twitter. I'm going to get the links in there. So I want you guys to make sure you get over and support these two guys. They go up their time. I'll get that up in just a second. Appreciate that, Simon. And Soundboy coming in. If he chooses Tottenham, how much credit do we give Ange? Also, let's not dress up joining Bayern as ambition. This is what I always say about Harry Kane's move. You can call it what you want, a box-ticking exercise, wanting to play for a big boy, whatever, but don't describe it as ambition if he's just going there to do the inevitable, which is lift the trophy. Over to you guys whilst I get up the your links for you.
I'm going to stick with the fact that I believe that Fabio's done the business. They would have discussed it with Ange. He would have seen the player. He would not be doing this deal without Ange's approval, but Fabio will be the one trying to get this deal done. And this will be, if we get it over the line, it will be a combination of the two of them bringing this to fruition. We know what Ange did with Timo, but I believe this is a Fabio deal. I don't think we could have done much more. And going and offering another 200 grand, I don't think it's going to make the slightest bit of difference, because it's not up to the club now, because he's met both clubs have met the criteria and demands of Genoa. It is now up to personal terms, and maybe they offered him bigger wages that might swing it. Let's wait and see. I think we'll know tomorrow. I said I think we'll get a here we go one way or the other on Wednesday. That was on Monday, so
we'll get a here we go tonight.
I think tomorrow we'll find out. Personally,
guys, just quickly, there's Johnny's link in the chat. I'm going to put it in the title or the description as well. Please hit that link and get over to Twitter and just smash a follow on his Twitter. You can also then find his links to the other YouTube channel, Tottenham on Tour, that he's with, and also his Instagram. I know he's rebuilding his Instagram after it got shut down. And Henry is right here. Make sure you get over to Henry as well. I know a lot of you have already come from Henry's channel, but for those of you that haven't, here is Henry's channel. Please get over there and smash the subscribe as well. I wanted to what I asked everybody in the chat. Where's the poll? He's
a Romanian, isn't he? Not a Pole.
Very good. Does Dragusin still sign for Spurs? We've had 1,300 votes on it, wow. And at the moment, off one poll, 1,300 votes. 60% of you are still confident enough to say yes. 40% say no.
Into Dragusin tomorrow morning, man. We're going to hear that. We're going to hear that. Here we go.
How big do you guys think the meltdown will be if he signs for Bayern Munich?
Huge.
Massive.
Huge.
Massive, do you reckon we'll see Levy out #1 hashtag in the UK again?
Yeah.
It was trending today, but I don't know if that's just trending for my for Tottenham topics or whether it's trending UK wide or how it works, But yeah, it's
Can
interesting.
you imagine what it'll be like if they end up with Lloyd Kelly?
Well, listen, I haven't got a problem with Lloyd Kelly. I'd like Lloyd Kelly to come in as the second signing, not necessarily the first or the only.
Yeah,
I think he makes a lot of sense. I know he's injured and injury prone, but I think he would do pretty well in a Tottenham system. Uraz here from Switzerland, I think that is. Big up to you, my man. Yeah. Not a Tottenham fan, but I really hope he joins the Spurs. Never let Bayern enter the chat. This deal had to be done faster, in his opinion. I hope at the end you get Dragusin, fantastic player. Appreciate that, my man. Really do. We hope so too. Henry, where do we go who's your number one option, realistic option in January if we don't sign Dragusin in the next two days?
Realistic? I mean, I'm a big fan of Todibo, but I don't think that's realistic. Probably Adebayo. I'll be honest with you. I think we've got a big homegrown clear out / situation to sort out in the next kind of 6 to 12 months. Whether that's what's going to happen with Spence, is Ollie Skip going to be? Is he here long term? Roden, players like that. I mean, there's a lot to get through, but I probably would go to Adebayo. If we're going to get Adebayo, you probably pick him up for what? I mean, he's got 6 months left on his deal. You'd be what are you talking? Less than 10 mil. I mean, pay the
money.
What you could do though, if you were going to spend 10 million and you're prepared to put 25 or 30 million down on centre back, would that not mean surely we'd have more money to go in and get a better number 8? You could actually, you could spin it and say, okay, would you rather? This is all hypothetical. Would you rather a Conor Gallagher and a Tosin Adebayo?
100%.
Or would you rather bring in Dragusin and have, say, a Calvin Phillips on loan with an option to buy?
I know exactly what I would take. Listen, for me, I've had this conversation a lot. I know a lot of fans don't rate Conor Gallagher. I think we have a player that's absolutely ideal for Ange. I know Ange loves him. He wanted him in the summer because what does he offer? We know Ange likes a flexible player, a player that can play in various positions and take up various roles, and especially, are we going to get the Chelsea version who plays a little bit deeper and seems to be here, there and everywhere, influencing everything as captain? Or are we going to get, do you want the Crystal Palace version where he's playing much further up the pitch, influencing in the final third with assists and goals? What he offers when you have a situation like we are now, where we've got gaps all over the midfield, he can slot into each of those positions. And for me, Tosin, at 6'5", quick, he's ideal. He ticks every single box for Spurs. I think both of those players would come in and be much more seamless than going for a Calvin Phillips on loan and a Dragusin, who I still believe is a good player, don't get me wrong, but I think that the transition will be a lot less seamless, especially for what we want. We want players that are going to come in and perform now till the end of the season. So I go for him. What about you, Henry?
Yeah, like what you were saying about, I think you were saying about fans' opinion on Conor Gallagher. I'm one of these people that, and Sean knows, I was one of the only people on Twitter that was getting absolute pelters. Oh, you're negative. And I'm trying to be balanced, right? I am in the leave out camp, but Sean can vouch for me. I am being a lot more balanced. But I just don't see the value at 50 million Conor Gallagher when we've been said we've got limited money. If this was in the summer, I'd get it, because the likelihood is you have European money coming in. We could be back in the Champions League. But Conor Gallagher, I mean, we've got so many midfielders that we don't really know. Like,
can I swap you? Can I swap you? Højbjerg. If I said to you, Højbjerg goes and Skip, who just chases the ball, if those two combined, paid out the vast majority of that 50 million, would you take him?
Yes,
yeah, of course.
But I don't think we sell Ollie Skip.
I wish we
How
would.
much is Ollie Skip worth, given that he's homegrown?
15 to 20
maximum, and I mean,
even though he's homegrown.
Yeah, twisting your arm off.
I've got
putting it in a furnace.
Homegrown, and I could still.
20 million.
Yeah, but like
quid.
if Brennan Johnson is a 20 million pound player that becomes a 50 million pound player because he's homegrown, is Ollie Skip a 15 million pound player that becomes a 30 million pound player because he's homegrown?
No, he has a top out. I mean, I'm not a huge Brennan Johnson fan. I mean, when I say a huge Brennan Johnson fan, I would have preferred to spend that money on Elise or other players that I would have targeted, who would deliver now. But for me, Oliver Skip's ceiling is way below what is required for Ange Ball and for a team that has aspirations to be top 4 and above.
Like I said on your stream the other day, Sean, like without sounding like a bit of an arse, how many Premier League clubs does he get in?
No.
None.
Other than maybe Luton, Sheffield United, or Burnley. Let's say like from 17 up. Does he start?
He doesn't get into Brentford's team, and Brentford are fighting relegation. He doesn't get into Forest's team. He doesn't get into Bournemouth's team. Doesn't get into West Ham. Doesn't get into Crystal Palace. I've already said Palace.
Well,
maybe Luton, Burnley, or
I don't know. When they've got Decore and players back fit, Palace, they've got an half a functioning team. The problem we've got is the club have kind of pushed out the PR of Skippy and captain vibes and all the stuff. We know how social media works. It plays on our feelings, and we see a post of Son and we're like, yeah, got to like that, got to put it on my story. Sonny, loves the club and all that. But with Son, with Skip, it just feels like it's all being forced far too much. Like Skip will make a very basic tackle that you'd see a lot of defensive midfielders do, and we tried 6-second highlight reel. It's almost as bad as when Emerson Royale's putting up his own comps.
If Everton sell Onana to Arsenal, could they go and say, "I'll take an Ollie Skip"?
Apparently, Arsenal have got no money.
How can they listen? I don't know how they're fudging those books, right? But they spent 250 million. Then the last summer, they were warned last year about their spending.
They're in big trouble, Arsenal. Big trouble. They can't spend anything.
I mean, the thing is, what they do
sell 3 of their players.
What they do have, Sean and Henry, what we don't have is we haven't, up until Paratici came in, we've never made purchases which have had any intrinsic value when we come to sell them. Right?
I'll tell you what, though. There is one player at Arsenal I take who's homegrown and can play the number 10 and the number 8.
Smith Rowe?
Bang on. And he's a Tottenham fan, and all his family are Tottenham fans. I would bite your arm off for him.
Can you imagine, though?
Get Ange. He needs an arm round him big time. The other day, he went to shake Martinelli's hand, and he pushed his arm away. Whatever's happened there. I mean, Arteta's got a thing of throwing players under the bus. He did it to Lacazette, Aubameyang, Ozil. Yeah. He's done it to 15, 20 players. If you could put Smith Rowe in a Tottenham shirt alongside players like Maddison, right, you would get an absolute gem. The Croydon De Bruyne. You would get an absolute gem out of him.
The Croydon De Bruyne.
That's what they call him.
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought you just made that one up.
You get an absolute gem out of him. You really would.
Out of the book of Henry quotes. Got a couple more super chats to go through here. Appreciate everyone for getting them in. It's been difficult, obviously, to get get too many comments up today, guys. There's so many people here. I do appreciate it. Please continue to smash the like button. I've got no idea how many likes we're on, but I'm guessing we can always do a lot more. Henry's channel is in the description and the title. Johnny's link to Twitter is also on there. You can go to there. You can find all of his social stuff as well. Daniel Hammett is saying, with Romano saying the decision will be in the next hours, will we get the decision tonight? Fingers crossed he chooses us. I'm 60-40. He chooses Bayern
tomorrow.
Look, Daniel, I'd love to do love to see a here we go tonight either way, just because I think Henry makes a really pertinent point that the reason why a lot of us are panicking here is because, not panicking, but concerned is because we have to get this done in the next 48 hours to register him in time for Sunday. But if I'm entirely honest, Henry, the longer this drags on, the less time, even if you were to sign him tomorrow, even if he was to fly over tomorrow, he chose us, you get the thing done. Is he going to have had anywhere near enough time learning the players, the system, anything at all for Sunday?
And if not, he's done medical. He won't even have a training session, mate.
So then, what do we do? So either way, whether Dragusin comes or not, we're going to play Van der Ven, who hasn't had a minute of professional football since September or October. Højbjerg and Royale in the centre backs. Højbjerg, the guy who doesn't want to, who couldn't be bothered to look where he was passing against Bournemouth because he's
That's
checked
what it's
out.
going to be. Because he won't give Dorian. Look, this is why we probably should have held off on getting rid of Phillips straight away on loan. We probably should have said, look, I mean, that's where you critique and say, look, that maybe was a bit premature, but it's done now. What will be, will be. I don't see Dorrington start. It's a massive game to start in Man United away. One of our top 4 rivals. It'd be the baptism of fire. If he doesn't perform, he would get you either adapt or you perish in that sort of format in that game.
Like Pedro Porro against Leicester.
Yeah, it would be Twitter would be absolutely ripping him if he doesn't perform. I think, right, that there could be a Udogie at left centre back and Reguilon at left back potential. But then
You can't have Reguilon if you.
Then what
it's
going to be?
If Reguilon wants to go away again on loan somewhere else, he can't play.
It's Ryan Sessegnon or Højbjerg then.
You can't.
Did you see how? Did you see how bad Sessegnon was against Bournemouth? The guy hasn't kicked the ball. He didn't know what he was doing. I genuinely think I could have looked. I've never played football in my life, and I genuinely think I could have done a better job than him in that 3 or 4 minutes that he had.
Terrible. Did you see they positioned little
terrible.
hamburgers? They positioned little hamburgers along the touchline here to get them to run. Honestly, it was shocking. Absolutely shocking.
They strapped like a fishing rod with a hamburger in front.
Chase the burger, boy. Chase the burger. Look, honestly, it was shocking. But I'm with Henry, actually. I would, if it all goes Pete Tong and we can't play Mickey van der Ven, then I'm for playing Udogie at left centre-back. Why not? I mean, you know.
What, and then Sessegnon at left back?
No, I play Reguilon. I think
if you play Reguilon, then he can't get a move anywhere else.
I don't think we should let him go. I think we need to keep him till the end of the season. What are we going to do if Sessegnon? Look, Davis is out for weeks. He takes up the final spot in the final non-homegrown spot. We'll get rid of some. Dyer will go, or someone will go. Well, we'll get rid of him. He won't.
If Dragusin goes to Bayern Munich, Dyer isn't going to Munich. So then, what are we doing?
He's injured as well. Dyer's injured.
Yeah, you're right. It's good point. Yeah,
he's injured anyway.
It's Dorrington, isn't it? Would you play Dorrington?
No, I play Højbjerg.
Play Dorrington at Man United.
It's the baptism of fire. Come on now, Rashford running at you. You've not even played a Premier League mitt.
Listen, this is scary. Look,
why did we let go of Ash Phillips this week? Why couldn't we stop until next week?
Even if now, it's probably too. I mean, he's got to get. Even if Dragusin gets a here we go tomorrow, he's got to fly, have a probably a day and a half medical, media duties. He won't even get a training session.
I know Udogie's wasted at centre back, good head, but the problem we've got here is there's no Davis, there's no Romero, there's no Dyer. There's no other centre backs, right? Let's not dress this up. Let's just deal with the cold hard facts. So we have a Mickey van der Ven who is not 100% fit, who hasn't had any minutes for the last 2.5 months. He's going to come in straight into the cauldron of Man United and play 90 minutes. I struggle to see that. Okay?
Can you imagine as well, if you're Eric Ten Hag, and you've got any sense at all, the first thing you say is in the first minute of the game, if you get the ball, you put it over the top of Van der Ven and then get behind. See if he fancies sprinting.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean,
let's see how much you trust your hamstring.
Well, also, what I'm worried about is being exploited by Man United, which has been exploited by Bournemouth, who don't have as good attack, is the fact that because Johnson is not tracking back and Pedro Porro is inverted, that massive gap over the top is going to be exploited by Man U. I expect Man U to exploit those wild areas with Garnacho and Rashford. Yeah. And I think we could have a problem. And if Mickey van der Ven isn't fit, then I don't see how you've got... What else can you do?
Van der Ven will definitely play, but he won't be able to finish the game. Right, he's got no match fitness.
No. And what's
so who's going to play next? So it's Emerson Royale and Van der Ven to start.
Yes, and then I would keep Reggie on the bench, and if necessary, look, I don't want to see Pierre Højbjerg go and start playing left centre back. Okay, I would rather use the pace of a Doji push him into left centre back, and then put Reggie on as a sub to play left back. I can't trust Sessegnon. The state of the guy. I mean, I'm not being funny. He looked overweight when he came back for the first day of training. I had to delete a tweet because I had that tweet that I got a lot of abuse for about Ndombele. Looked like he was exhausted getting to the front door from his car, right? And I got a lot of abuse in that. So when I put the one out about Sessegnon looking like he'd been camped out at McDonald's for the summer, he looks like he'll last about a week before his hamstring goes. I took it down, and lo and behold, it wasn't even a week. But when you look at Sessegnon, I mean, let's be serious, right? Bentancur had a ruptured ACL. He was injured before Bentancur, right? And yet Bentancur has had a ruptured ACL, come back, right? Played again, got injured again, come back, and still been ahead of Sessegnon. And he still looks fitter than Sessegnon.
Yeah, Sessegnon for me is just an absolute non-entity.
23.
I don't think
He's 23.
I know, but it feels like he's been around for a decade, and I've had enough. Let me just get through the last couple of super chats to get us up to date. Tomo Tottenham saying, "Stop making excuses. It's all Levy's fault." All right, I completely understand why some people feel that way. Appreciate the super chat. Timman 007, big up, mate. If we don't get Dragusin, then what next? Other clubs will raise their prices for their players as they know we are now desperate. We've messed up. Yeah, I definitely think there's that side to it, and I also think that losing Ben Davies has also like thrown a spanner in the works, because now obviously you just are a bit more desperate, knowing that you've also lost him. So, and Tottenham should know by now this season that we've lost a guy on average every game and a half. I think we've had an injury for every 120 minutes of football or something. So
there's another one that hasn't been announced yet, Sean.
Another injury, significant.
It will affect us,
Looking forward to hearing that. Thank you, Tim, man. I appreciate it. Sorry, to answer your question, what next? I think that, look, I don't think we'll have anyone in for Manchester United, because we're going to have to go and then start another negotiation process elsewhere. I think we're still going to have a centre back in. I'm still confident it's going to be Dragusin. I'm still very much on the side that he's going to choose us, but I just think that the longer this drags on, the more difficult it's going to be for him to get in. I really hope that Tottenham have got their I's and their T's and everything kind of sorted out here. But if not, there are other names out there that we're linked with. And a user has said, if players like Radu has not made his mind up until now to where he wants to go, then we don't want him. Serious contenders hold up shirt only, please. Is there an argument there that if he's not fully on board Tottenham, then should we be like that?
Levy's gone back. Levy's gone back and offered him his own go-kart at the F1, and that could be the swinging deciding
personalized custom go-kart.
Personalized go-kart. I don't think he'd be interested in the Skywalk personally, but listen, it's all conjecture. We would all like to have had this done, but let's be honest. 9 days ago, most people didn't even know who Dragusin was. And, a few of us knew who Tobido was because we follow the football. And, he's a French national and a really good player. I knew who Saliba was before he'd gone to Arsenal. So there is that. But I don't think Dragusin was ever a mainstay player. So if we don't get him, it'd be upsetting. But, we didn't know him 9 days ago. It will pass. He will be consigned to history, and another player will come into the fold, and we should forget it. Because as you say, if you don't want to come here, I don't want to know about him.
I really hope that we haven't got to worry about this. Roy's come in with a member for 11 months. Big up, Roy. I think we make an improved contract on personal terms as of now to Drago, and he signs. Here we go early tomorrow. That's the other thing. If we go this is the thing. There's an opportunity to do that, right? You go back and you say, listen, I know we've already agreed personal terms, but if it gets this problem, this buzzing mosquito, this irritating fly that is Bayern Munich out of the way, then if we offer you an extra 20 grand a week or whatever, or we give you a signing bonus, will that get it done? But if you do that, do you start to look desperate? I don't know. Pretty worrying. Guys, I want to go for just another sort of 10 minutes.
Do you not think there's a better player we could potentially offer in an exchange than Jed
Like
Spence?
who? Eric Dyer?
Regulon?
Skip.
Regulon, Skip? With Regulon, surely they'd be going, hang on about here. Like he doesn't want to be in part of our plans. We could give him a loan with an option to buy of Sergio Regulon. He's 27 years of age.
He ain't going. Listen, with the greatest respect, right? When you played for Real Madrid.
Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah,
you play for Real Madrid, and then you play for Tottenham under two great managers, and then one of the greatest defensive coaches in football, Simeone, declares that he wants you. You go out there, and unfortunately, I don't know if you know what happened. He played 2 or 3 games. He had a little bit of a niggle, went into the hospital and caught one of those hospital bacterias and was seriously, seriously ill. I mean, like really ill, could have died ill.
Who's this?
Regulon.
Regulon. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And he was in hospital for weeks on end. And he wasn't right again. It took him months to get over it. And then he's come back to us. And I thought he did all right in a couple of the friendly games. And he's gone to Man United. So Real Madrid, Tottenham Hotspur, Atletico Madrid, Man United, he ain't going to Genoa.
If he is going to Genoa, this is the team that he will be walking into. Let's assume that Dragusin's their most valuable asset. After that, you've got Goodmanson, the left winger. So in terms of, their left back is Aaron Martin. So if you were going to offer them,
he's on loan as well at Mainz or whatever that is.
Who? Sorry,
yeah, he's on loan. That guy.
They're going into free fall as soon as he's gone. They're going
relegation
into
fodder, maybe.
That's another decision they have to make.
But like even a Brian Hill, like if Brian Hill's looked at Fiorentina, couldn't there be an option to if they're not happy with Jed Spence, throw him in there?
It's a point, yeah.
He's been linked to the likes of Fiorentina and Feyenoord today. I think there's an opportunity. What we're doing is looking him out. We're not loaning him out to an English club because we can see that he's not part of the plans. The plan is to sell him to a foreign club. What I would be in a perfect scenario would be put him on the table with 35 million and give me Santiago Jimenez at Feyenoord. That would be the dream, but dreams aren't always reality.
Not going to happen now with Timo in. The money's going to be split across the, across the board. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a loan with an option, another loan with an option, because that's how you get through this window. I think, we like to specialise in that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another left fielder that we haven't even discussed or mentioned.
There's 3 names I want to just run past you guys to sort of end off. This isn't centre backs. This is midfielders. We've been linked this last couple of. Let me get it up for you so I can show you. Oh, what am I doing there? Hang on a second. Share screen. Window. Is that the one? Here we go.
They're playing Cole Palmer as the striker tonight, through the middle, Chelsea.
Wow. What a signing that is, by the way.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I actually can't believe it. I used to know his agent, right? And he always used to go on about what a great player he was. He used to be the same agent as Carl Walker. And, I forgot about him. And then when I started seeing him appearing on the bench at City, I was just shocked that they sold him. I think, it was a couple of games beginning of the season, and the Charity Shield, was it, where he scored a beautiful goal?
The
Charity Shield.
It was against Sevilla. It was in the what's the competition called? The one before the Club World Cup, the
Super Cup.
Yeah, is it Super Cup?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, or something like that. And
he scored that equaliser against Sevilla. I mean, you could just see it was class, even for the England under 21s. And assisting in the Euro final, like you could see it was class.
He's got to be in that England squad, does he not? If he carries on like this.
Well, at this rate, Saka's going to be dropped because he's just the way he's free falling, mate. It's like it looks like Gabby Abolo out on the right.
Mate. Not with Southgate. I mean, he just picks the same. So I can't wait for Southgate to leave.
Do you know what we need? We need Newcastle to keep falling down, and then just them to give the job to Eddie Howe. Or at the rate Mourinho's getting red cards, right, at Roma, just I would do some some horrible, disgusting things to see Jose Mourinho managing England, because we would win.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
We'd win everything.
Yeah, we would. Yeah, we absolutely would. Guys, just to finish off, I just want to ask you guys some quick fire questions. We've been linked with 3 defensive midfielders, young defensive midfielders, over the last couple of days. One of them is Adam Wharton from Blackburn Rovers.
Yeah.
Highly rated, 18-year-old, 19-year-old. I've watched him play, but and I'll say the same for him and the next one, Hayden Hackney, who plays for Middlesbrough, English-Scottish guy. I'm a little bit, you know what, I'm actually going to increase this for this one here. I feel a bit different about him because I've seen him play. This guy looks incredibly elegant technically, but 3 defensive midfielders, all young players, one out of Argentina, out of Boca Juniors, Ezequiel Fernandez, the other 2 out of England. I don't know if you guys know anything about either of these 3 players, but are you still of the mindset where it's okay going after more youngsters, ones for the future, or is this window right now? If whatever happens with the Dragusin deal, if we are going to find the midfield option, should it be someone that's mature, that can come in, that can compete, and that is here for the here and now, rather than one that we may or may not see the best of in 2 or 3 years' time?
You need a bit of balance, don't you? Like, if you look at,
both.
sorry, John, you need a bit of balance. If you look at Man City, they've just signed that guy out of Argentina. I don't know how you pronounce his name, and Brighton are doing it as well. Brighton have got a scouting network out there where they're just picking up gems. But what Man City do is they're bringing in Alvarez, but they've also got so many experienced heads around him that Alvarez can afford to have a year to then the next year blossom like he is this season. With us, we don't really have at the moment a huge amount of like quality experienced pros in certain positions. So it's like it's a sink or swim situation. With us, I think a DM at the moment, I don't think it's a huge priority. I want someone, for me personally, that can actually score goals and create for midfield other than a James Maddison. If Maddison was to get a huge catastrophic injury, an ACL, like touch wood, it never happens. But if he did get an ACL injury,
season over.
For that precisely. Whereas the DM, we've got Skip that can play there, we've got Saar that can play there, Bissouma, Bentancur. We've got Højbjerg. With a number 8 or a creative spark. That's why I wasn't truly committed on Gallagher, because yes, he had a great season at Palace where I think he got 8 or 9 goals, but other than that, he's kind of played everywhere at Chelsea. But in terms of those 3 players, I don't really know a huge amount about them. But what I will say is there's a lot of clubs sniffing around the Argentina teams at their top talent. So
I would say, look, the thing is here, it's great buying talent, young talent. I think Tottenham have been absolutely atrocious at organising loans. Our loans have not been very good. Both Scarlett's loans have not been good. Tanganga, I know he got injured, but his loan's not been very good. Spencer's loan's not really worked out. There's been others that don't always work out. So it's all very well and good, but this 18-year-old's not going to get any game time under Ange, none. The midfield's crowded. So, yeah, if you're going to buy them and you're going to send them out to a farm and do like a Brighton and loan them out, and you know that it's a top Argentinian talent, and you loan him out to Spain in the sort of environment you know he can blossom, then they're fine. But I would prefer to buy someone, again, I want to see, I believe like Henry, if you don't have Lo Celso and you don't have Maddison, you have no team. Without creativity, we saw Tottenham Hotspur for the last 3 years when we lost Eriksen, we had nothing. It was predictable football. We need a creative, but I also think we need someone like a Gerstrude, who can play, a 6, an 8. He can play centre back. He can play right back. A flexible player. I would prefer to buy someone flexible right now than an 18-year-old. There's a lot of good players. I mean, I'll tell you who I thought looked really good when he came on for Liverpool. Was it Bradley? Yeah,
Connor Bradley.
Bradley. Yeah, a 20-year-old kid.
But he's been highly touted. It's interesting, right? Like people think, these kids come out of nowhere, but because we're not paying attention. I was talking to my mate who's a Liverpool
well,
fan.
wasn't
He's
he-
like,
wasn't he at
they've
Bolton or
been
something?
talking about him for what's that, Henry?
Wasn't he at Bolton or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
he was the player of their season last year.
Correct. Yeah.
Right, and he's so they've got, you know, every team's got a couple of kind of kids ready.
Trent's
Just,
out
I'm
now.
not sure if Tottenham do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure if Tottenham have, you know, in our youth system. Obviously, people like Pape Sarr and that have gone away and come back. Destiny Udogie, everything, and they're still very young players. But I'm not sure. Listen, talking about a young player, there's noise out today about Brian Hill. Romano, I think it was, saying Feyenoord and Fiorentina are interested, but as of now, he's 100% focused on the Tottenham gig, which is a bit surprising to me because he's always come across like he's not happy in England. He doesn't like the cold weather and he'd rather be over in Spain. If there's a willingness for Tottenham to liquidate, to let go, to move on, to kind of see what they can get for him, but the player isn't really interested right now, what does that sort of, how does that sort of, what sort of taste does that leave in your mouth, Johnny?
I think it's up to Ange. If Ange believes in him, look, he showed commitment. He shaved off his moustache. He's a lot more streamlined now since he shaved off that tash. He's looking less like a beetle. Look, he looks flimsy. Okay, he is busy. I think there is a player there. I do believe there's a player there. You know, is he any more bulky than Bernardo Silva? And I'm not saying he's a Bernardo Silva there. I'm just giving you, you know, for a body type. You know, I remember when Modric arrived, everyone was saying he can't stand on the ball. He gets knocked off the ball so easy. He's minute. I'm not saying he's going to be any of those players, but he does, if you can control him, if he wasn't so, how can I put it? You know, he's here, there, and he's everywhere. Like, calm down. Just calm down a little bit in that final third. I think there is a player.
Jack Russell, isn't he? Just runs around like trying to look busy, and he's desperate to get involved. He's desperate to.
That's what I was
to have an impact. You know,
overly desperate. I think if he can calm down a bit in that final third, he could do more damage. Look, if Ange says he's gone, then I'm all for it. You know, fine. But if he says like he wants to keep him, and then fine. Manor Solomon's back in training, so I can't see him getting many minutes. And also, you know, we can see that probably Timo's going to play off that left-hand side, isn't he? So I don't know.
See, I've actually got mixed feelings about this because I think Timo should be, and I'm probably the only one here, should be playing through the middle. Because if you look for all of Timo's best games in his career, 99.9% of them have been as a striker. And Son proved against Newcastle that he still can play out on the left and terrorise Trippier.
Richie
on the left when he played at Chelsea,
yeah.
Werner, it was absolutely useless.
Would you play Richie on the left or just drop Richie altogether?
When everyone's fit.
When everyone's fit, I would put
Richie out.
Richarlison and Johnson
no, I'm
on
talking
the bench.
about as we are now, as we stand.
Oh no,
now.
Richie starts in the 9 for me.
Oh yeah, then
Werner on the left and Decky or Johnson on the right, or Decky in the 10, whatever. But when everyone's fit in February, or hopefully everyone's back, I think Richie gets back to the bench personally.
I think you'll see
Johnson
Decky in the
too.
middle come Sunday. You'll see Decky in the middle, Johnson on the right.
Right, guys, listen, I want to say massive thank you, guys. Everyone that's here, everyone that's in the chat. We've had over 2,000 people. It's absolutely insane. I want to, I think it's 2,200 people. Please smash the like button. Stay where you are. Don't go anywhere. I think Henry's going to go. Are you going live again, Henry, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to jump on.
Yeah, so we're going to redirect everybody over there. But before we do that, guys, I want to make sure everyone has also got over to see Johnny at
give us a follow, guys.
Give him a follow. Johnny's been kind enough to give up his time, and he's a wonderful, wonderful man on Twitter, doing his spaces. He's very popular on there. So hit that link. It will open up on Twitter, and then just give him a follow. And Henry, your link is here as well, guys. Make sure you get over to Henry. But we are going to redirect over to Henry right now. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's been here for the last hour and 45 minutes. And obviously, there might be some breaking news again later on this evening, and if there's every chance that we could be going live with the decision one way or another. It's January transfer window time. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that put in the super chats. Very generous of you, because we get limited ads on this channel, so YouTube doesn't doesn't ever help us out, but you guys really very much do. Hit the subscribe on your way out. Stay where you are. We're going to go over to Henry's. Johnny, thank you so much. Henry, thank you so much. Johnny, you got spaces coming up on Twitter soon?
Well, we'll be doing them probably this week. But give me a follow on Tottenham on Tour as well. Obviously,
Tottenham on Tour.
Yeah,
is Brian Daigle's channel and the boys over there, guys.
Yeah, we do.
Appreciate everyone for coming in. Massive numbers. Really appreciate. I think it's a record for the show. Appreciate you guys. Come on, Tottenham. Get this done. Come on, Radu. Count Dragula to Tottenham. We're going to find out in the next 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Like, subscribe, and all that. And as always, come on, you Spurs.